because people are so negative when it comes to osteoarthritis. Like, oh no, your knee caves in, you got all these postural faults, you have to stop doing everything. And I'm like, no, this is fine. It'd be weird if you didn't have OA changes. What's wrong with you? Your knee looks like it's 20 years old. Like, that's weird stuff, right? Like, you have to start doing the things that you love again. That's the whole point, right there. Like, yeah, and this is the other thing, like, when it comes to pain, and I'm not saying you're going to be pain-free if you start being active again, when you have knee OA. What exercise and activity and changing your mindset and being healthier again, what they typically do is take people from like 5 out of 10 pain, whatever that is, that's the average, to like 2.5 or 2, that's a good success. So their knee still hurts sometimes, but here's the thing, they're doing the things that they love again, right? Like, we have to normalize having some pain. Like, I'm sore today. That's because I'm active. I'm 47. That's normal. And I know people who are pain-free all the time, but then they have massive flare-ups and they're out for a few days. That's normal too. Like, we have to like normalize having these aches and pains. And it doesn't mean stop, because stopping sometimes won't help your aches and pains either, right? Keep doing the stuff you love. That's
it's like the risk of doing nothing, right? There's that, if you don't run, there is a risk to that too. If you stop running because you want to protect your knees, that's not without its risks as well.
Yeah. And again, I when we look at the research on running and protecting the knees, there doesn't seem to be even that idea. Just running doesn't seem to make them wear down. Maybe at a massively extreme amount, like in elite runners doing huge amounts of running. But for the majority of people who, just run 20 to 50K a week, that's a recreational runner. It's not doing it. It's not how the body's built, right? It's built to respond to these stressors and build up, if anything.
Yeah, I think that's the thing we often struggle with, is we think of our joints a bit like car parts, right? And the more you use them, like, you've got a certain amount of use in them, but it's not the right way to think of them, because being alive will respond to stress, so if we run on our knees, our bones will get stronger, our muscles will get stronger. I believe even our cartilage will respond in a positive way in some way.
There's a few, again, J.F. Esculier has some studies about, if people go for a hard run, you'll see these changes in the cartilage after that tend to be precursors to positive adaptations. And then if for any of the mice that are listening, we know that mice, when they run, get stronger, like discs and cartilage. And there's some studies in humans, where they give strength training exercises and you'll see positive adaptations in the cartilage. And not just in kids. This isn't like when they're 13 or something. This is like adults, 40. So you still will see it. And your adaptability is limited. Like, you can only adapt so much, but you'll see some changes. You're definitely not seeing more wear and tear, right? Like, so here's an example. I know we were going to talk about this, but I'll jump ahead. When people so they have knee OA and they might have a BMI like over 30, which would be on the higher side, and it would be suggested that it's helpful to lose weight to help with pain. The assumption has always been, they have less pain because there's less stress on the knee, right? That's the idea. There's less load. What's really interesting is there isn't. I mean, if they're just standing there, there's less. But once they start walking, when you lose weight, there's a subset of people who just walk faster, because they feel better, and maybe they've been exercising more. So once they walk faster and they take longer strides, they now put more stress on their knee. It's so fantastic. So they call them loaders. And so researchers were like, oh no, like, what about the law of unintended consequences? What if they're going to pay for it later? They're stressing their knees even more. So this is Messier's work, who I'm seeing on this Wednesday. I have a pod, and it doesn't matter. He's a good researcher. Still careers on this. So they load their knee more, and they followed them for 18 months to see if they paid for it later. And no, they didn't. They surprisingly kept the weight off, which is really tough. I'm surprised. Sometimes being in a study helps because there's so much like people forcing you. But so they loaded the knee more and followed them for 18 months and no negative changes in that time.
So why then would the knee pain improve if you lose weight? Because that's a common recommendation, and it's one of the reasons a lot of people get into running is that they want to lose weight, and then the knee starts to hurt. They get an X-ray. They're told they have arthritis. They should stop running, and they're like, "Oh, bad."
Yeah, that's really. I don't really like the advice to lose weight. I get how it can be helpful for some people if you're motivated to lose weight and something that you're driven to do and you want to for whatever reasons. Fine, go ahead. But I don't think we should be telling people you have to lose weight to get out of pain. Because although it's like, this is what I mean about options. Yes, it's one option, but it's not the only one. If someone's like, listen, can't lose weight, but I'll be happy to be active and do other things, I'll be like, good, let's work together. We can do it. If you lose weight, great, if you wanted to, but you don't have to. So the rationale behind losing weight, yes, some people say it's load on the structures. I don't think so. I think it's associated with other health benefits. People might be more active, they walk more, they just feel better, they're more optimistic. And then there's the chemical sensitizing component, like an increase in adipose tissue can be related to like more inflammatory mediators. So it's a very complex neuroimmune response. Again, it's just chemicals in the joint. And those chemicals can drive sensitivity and pain. That would be the idea.
So is that why? Because earlier you were talking about the structural changes related to, you call it structural or radiographic osteoarthritis, and you talk about this in the videos on the OA Optimism site. And you were saying that this isn't a one-to-one relationship with pain; that there is a relationship there, but it's not a one-to-one relationship. And is that one of the factors? Like if you have more adipose tissue, then you will be more sensitive to the structural changes. Is that how we get this discrepancy between how much structural changes on an X-ray and how much actual pain and disability a runner might feel?
That's exactly how I view it. Yeah, it's like the structural change just is one little part of it, and then you have these other things that just make you more sensitive to what's going on. And that's why you see like weird things. This is where the psychological aspect comes in. You can't talk yourself out of having pain, but like people who catastrophize. I'm a catastrophizer. Like you just look at even though I'm an optimist, it's a bit weird. Like you just focus on like the worst things, and you just think this is horrible, or you ruminate. I'm more of a ruminator. You just keep thinking, you become hyper vigilant, you get worried, you're anxious, you're fearful. These things tend to be associated with more pain as well. And so that's what's odd. I don't know if they mediate the pain via chemical changes, or if they if you're a ruminator or you worry a lot, means you just end up not doing as much. That would be the issue. So it's again, like we said, it's complex. So yeah, I think it's more chemically driven. That's what's going on.
If you have a certain personality type, like you are, I think I could fit into this box, a bit more of a ruminator, a bit more of a worrier, a bit more of a catastrophizer, right? You're always focusing on what could go wrong. When that person has some structural changes in their knee, their body will react differently to someone who's more, let's say, generally optimistic and tends to focus on things that are positive and just kind of forget about things that they can't control and not dwell on them. And that's a way that a psychological trait might influence the actual pain that someone feels from an arthritic knee with the same amount of arthritis, like two different people, same amount, but different experience of pain. Is that one of the ways, another way in which, these two things don't marry up exactly?
Exactly. And that's exactly what we think is going on.